Whew, get ready for a long one. What's going on, everybody? It's Kata, aka Kalo Too Short. Today I want to have a talk about a movie that just came out 28 years later. 28 years later is one of those films that gets worse the more that I think about it. If you would have told me that a sequel to the most influential zombie or infected movie ever put out that redefined the genre, reuniting the writer and the director of the original film with a trailer that's so brilliantly done that it legit gave me goosebumps, starring actors who are at the top of their game no matter what they're in, and an intro to a child actor who's actually pretty good, with cinematography that is breathtaking and practical effects that kind of make your skin crawl, would end up being one of the dumbest movies I've seen this year, with an ending that devolves into a complete parody of itself. If you would have told me that about a month ago, I wouldn't have believed you, but yet here we are. I had to sit on this for the last few days and gather my thoughts, because genuinely, the more that I thought about this movie, the worse and worse that it got. So now, here's this long drawn out video about my reaction to 28 years later. This is way different than any of the videos that I usually do, but there is no way that I can make this a short video with how stupid this film is. We got some things to talk about, but before we do, I need you guys to do 3 things for me. Like the video, share the video, and also please subscribe to the channel. And if you don't do all 3 of those things, that's perfectly fine. A movie letting you down will be the least of your problems, because in the Nia DaCosta sequel, The Bone Temple, they'll forget about the entire first movie that they did and introduce a character trying to find their gay romance in a post-apocalypse, and they're going to be played by Cynthia Erivo.
No, you both have to stop. It was Jesus.
The highlight of my life.
Now let's get into it. Hey, Future Kata here. I was sitting here editing the video and realized that I was calling Aaron Taylor Johnson's character Jamie Jacob. God, that just shows how irritated I really was with this freaking movie. So screw it, we're just gonna call him Jacob throughout this video. So if you hear me saying Jacob and Aaron Taylor Johnson shows up, that's why. I completely forgot his name, but fuck it, we're gonna roll with it. Yeah, I know, you can see my script and my glasses. I had to write my thoughts down. I can't just off the dome this one. It's that nonsensical, but let's go. So you see the title of the video. It's probably this movie doesn't make sense. It's kind of bad. It's a bait and switch and all these other kind of things that I'll probably title the video. And you're asking yourself, why is that the case? Well, that's an easy thing to showcase with one character in particular in this film that gets introduced at the very beginning, and his name is Jimmy. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about Jimmy, and spoiler alert, there will be hella spoilers in this video, so if you don't want to see that, thank you for watching this long, but we're going to get into it, and we're going to be jumping ahead a bit, so bear with me, but this needs to be addressed. See, Jimmy is shown as a child during the beginning of the outbreak, and as you know, a lot of people were dying during this time. It is actually a very good scene with the deaths of multiple children in the house while they were watching Teletubbies, and in the deaths of his mother and all the neighbors that were also in the house. It's a tense scene, and it is admittedly done pretty well. The child runs away to a church to find his father, who is a priest, and his father basically embraces the fact that this is the end and he wants all the zombies to get him, but he wants his son to survive, and he gives his son his cross chain and says survive. So the child hides while his father embraces the horde and runs off. Little Jimmy then runs away into the woods, and then we cut to 28 years later where we learn about the virus being contained or whatever. We're gonna talk about that later. You think this character is important somehow and be a driving force for the plot, right? Given you spent the beginning 5 minutes of this film setting him up.
Nope.
This motherfucker doesn't show up until the last 2 minutes of the film, and when he does, I kid you not, I almost screamed in the theater. I was screaming internally. It was so nonsensically stupid. Like, I kid you not, his name is shown multiple times in the background of shots. It's even carved into some zombies' bodies. His name is hinted all throughout the film, hinting that he's some omnipresent force, while at the same time, they never acknowledge his presence. We get to the end of the film where, spoiler alert, the real main character, who is the child actor named Spike, who we're gonna talk about in a second, runs into Jimmy and his gay Targaryen Circus Soleil band of misfits. And what proceeds is the most tonal shifts of tonal shifts I've ever experienced. It turned into a fucking parody. I thought I was watching an Adult Swim show at 2 o'clock in the morning by how stupid and weird this was. You have this entire film of gritty, dark consequence and the tales of death and all these zombies. It's a very dark film, and then you get to the end and it goes, well, here we go. Let's jump around. Let's do some stuff. Oh, look at me. Look at my chains. I got grills in my mouth. Do you know who I am? Oh my God. What the fuck am I looking at, dog? It felt like Danny Boyle was taking the bloody piss, as they like to say, and was fucking with me. These niggas are doing flips and laughing while killing zombies, and some rock music is playing, and Jimmy is standing there with his grills and his chains, and he's like, yeah, look at this shit, nigga. You see that? Nigga, what are we doing, bro? This is how we end the film? With a character you showed for 5 minutes in the beginning and did absolutely nothing until just now so that you could set him up for future movies? Son of a bitch! And no, I don't want to hear the excuse. It's a British reference to Jimmy Savile. You Americans wouldn't get it. The scene could have played out with Bill Cosby jumping around with some fucking jello and it would still be out of place. Cultural references mean nothing to this point right now. It had nothing to do with the story. It was out of place. It's a slap in the face to the whole almost 2 hours we just went through because you throw him back in the mix like we're supposed to know or care about him because, oh, it's the cross from the beginning of the film. It's such an easy thing to make better too that it blows my mind. Like I said earlier, his name is shown on buildings and is carved into zombies, giving him the kind of omnipresence like a Negan-esque character. So what they could have done is at some point in the film, bring back Jimmy or his gang, showcase his chain, and then establish who the character is. You could have him go up on a group of survivors and betray them, kill them, slaughter them, or anything like that to present him as a threat like you keep doing in the background of this film. That way, when we get to the end of the film and Spike runs into Jimmy, the audience already has a connection to who he is and they go, oh crap, this is Jimmy. Why is Spike with Jimmy? This is a bad thing. That way, leading into your sequel that you're setting up, making it more intriguing and making people want to actually see it. This is just common sense stuff, but if common sense was common, it'd just be called sense. Speaking of common sense, let's finally talk about how stupid the entirety of this movie is and how they bait and switched you with the father-son dynamic as the backbone of this film just for it to be thrown away 1/3 into the movie. We can also talk about the god-awful choices that a lot of the characters make and also some of the other stupid things that they set up and never address. So let's talk about it. Like in the beginning, they showcased the character Jacob that's being played by Aaron Taylor Johnson and his son Spike, who is a newcomer actor, which again, I said in the beginning, does a terrific job. But he's taking his son out on his first voyage into the mainland. They live on an island that is secluded and the only way in or out is a passageway that is only accessible during low tide. They cross over and he gets his first kills and it's established that Jacob is trying to teach him the ways of the world and how killing is how you survive out here. But in classic fashion, as this film loves to do, he contradicts that point by not killing a child zombie and letting it run away just because Spike was sad or something like that. You're trying to teach your son that you need to kill to survive, so why would you just let a zombie walk away? This doesn't fit with the character that you're introducing us to. He's shown as a guy that's supposed to do everything that he has to protect his son and to protect himself. So why would he let the zombie run away? That doesn't make any sense. Why is there a fat one crawling up on him and he doesn't hear him even though he's crawling over leaves and sticks? That doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna be saying that a lot, but let's continue. They're out on this trip and happen to run into a dead deer carcass with its head mounted onto a tree. Before then, there was an infrared shot, I guess, of the zombies at night killing the deer. Very well done. But then the scene that precedes it is so stupid that it kind of made my brain hurt when I thought about it. Because the deer head is mounted onto a tree and this can only be done by an alpha zombie. They're evolved rage zombies who have the power to command other lesser zombies and birds apparently. How does all that work? Why are they so strong? How are they so smart? Why the fuck are their dicks so big? We don't know and we never get the answer to it either.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
So Jacob realizes there's one there and they start to make a break for it because according to him, he's seen grown men put 12 arrows into one and it didn't do a thing but slow it down.
Huh?
Wait a fucking minute. So you're aware that these things are out there in the mainland, and the only thing you came equipped with is a bow and some arrows? You didn't bring the right weapons to potentially deal with all the kinds of threats you meet out here? This is the first time that you brought your son out. You're telling me that you didn't take every precaution necessary to protect him? You've been surviving in this world for 28 years. You don't fucking know what to do in this situation? Alright, anyway, yeah, they run away and end up in a building for the night to wait off the Alpha, who is so smart apparently, but somehow just stands around and lets them get their rest. They see a fire in the distance and Spike asks his father about it, but Jacob ignores it. That fire will be very important later, trust me. But let's get to the scene that absolutely drove me nuts. The house starts to collapse because a herd of deer are running by and the house is so old, so they have to get out and run back to this settlement. Now keep in mind, I said the Alpha was just standing there, so why didn't he just now take this opportunity to chase them down and kill them? They're not faster than him, they're not stronger than him, and he knows where they're held up. Why would he not then attack as soon as they jump out? Who knows, but our two characters somehow get back to the passageway that is partially covered by the high tide so they can walk knee deep. Now during this part, they have time to take their shoes off, walk slowly to the island, and cheer about surviving the day out there on the mainland.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
And this character Jacob, who they're trying to establish as being a survivor and knowing his way around this world, does it once. Look back to make sure that everything is safe and everything is okay. He's just gleefully walking around with his fucking son like, oh, we made it. Yeah, good job. You shot those zombies. Give me a kiss, little nigga. They're just walking until Mr. 28 inches later pops up, running down the passageway to get them. And the only reason they're alerted by this, by the way, is because the Alpha is in control of some birds, and he's so smart that he alerts the people that he's chasing by sending the birds down to distract them or something like that. How the fuck does he control the birds? Why was Jacob never checking to make sure that they were safe? Why is this even fucking happening? Nobody knows. But fast forward, they make it into the base after Mandingo is shot down, and Spike catches Jacob cheating on his mother Ilsa after a party that they had in the honor of them surviving the trip. Ilsa is the mother of Spike and the wife to Jacob, and she's established earlier in the film as having some kind of disease that I thought was dementia, but turns out to be cancer that you learn later on. So after Spike catches Jacob cheating on his mother, this is when all the real fuckery starts. So Spike asks his mother's caretaker about the fire that he saw, and the caretaker lets slip that it might be a doctor who used to live out there that he knew from the old days. So Spike gets the idea that if he takes his mother to this doctor, he'll be able to save her. So get this, listen to this dumb shit. He asks his dad about it, and his dad tells him the story of the first time that he met the doctor, who was called Dr. Kelson, played by Ralph Fiennes, and describes how him and a bunch of other survivors found him throwing bodies that he lined up into a fire. He says Dr. Kelson saw them even and waved, and ever since then they've been afraid to go back because he's nuts.
Think, Mark, think!
So you're telling me a medical doctor is disposing of corpses and you couldn't think of any other reason as to why he was doing such a thing besides he's nuts?
Right.
Holy shit. Alright, sure. So Spike then gets mad and claims Jacob just wants his mother to die so that he could be with his side bitch that he was with earlier. Jacob slaps him, Spike tells him to leave their house, and Jacob leaves. And then the course of events goes like this, and I'm not lying. This is how it goes. Spike's dumbass sets the supply warehouse that the entire island needs on fire so that he can distract everybody to go and tend to the fire. He then goes up to the watchtower to convince him to go see what's going on, because out of all the people that are on the island, specifically the watchtower guard needs to be alerted so that he can move from his post and go over there. And the watchtower guard is so fucking stupid that he abandons his post to a 12-year-old. During this whole debacle, Spike sneaks his mother off of the compound and onto the mainland to go find Dr. Kelson. And oh yeah, Jacob, the man who loves his son and wife and would do anything to protect them, you don't fucking see him again until the end of the movie. Yep, he doesn't immediately go out and find his deathly sick wife or his underage son. He just disappears until the end of the movie when the plot said so.
And I've got to say, in all honesty,
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Another example of setting up something and not paying it off, because again, this character is set up as somebody who would do anything for his family, even breaking the golden rule of not going after anybody that leaves the island because he loves them so much. But nah, he'll just lay around with his side bitch until the plot requires that he pretends to care.
Give a nigga a break.
So if you came into this movie expecting to see a father-son adventure in a zombie-infested world, well, you're gonna be disappointed, because the film from this point on turns into Mommy Issues, the fucking movie. It slows down, and then we get to watch a stupid 12-year-old lead his cancer-ridden mother across this mainland. There's a hilariously dumb scene where they stopped at a church to rest and the child is on watch. But the child falls asleep, and guess what shows up? A crawler zombie is sneaking up on him. I was of the idea that's probably the one that the father let go earlier like a dumbass, so maybe this is going to be some kind of point to prove where the father comes back in and he saves him and he's like, this is why you never let these things live, or something like that. Or is this Dr. Kelson, the one they've been looking for because they're getting so close to him? Or is it fucking Jimmy from the beginning of the movie to try to tie him into the story and everything that's happening?
Wrong!
Even better, it's the confused sick mother who somehow is quick enough to get up and take out the zombie before it eats little Spike.
I beg your pardon?
So you're telling me that the sick mother who just wasn't conscious enough to know what was happening in the world around her is somehow able to kill this zombie in record speed and save her son?
Sure, Jan.
And if you think that's stupid, we quick cut to a herd of zombies bathing in a river like they care about their hygiene or some shit, and one of them is fucking pregnant.
Life, finds a way.
I was just floored with the idea, like, wow, are we getting to this part of the movie where we start to explore the depths of what's happening to the people infected by the rage virus? Has it evolved to the point where they have these kind of relationships where they get the capacity for caring for others and themselves, with them trying to bathe and wash themselves? What does this all mean? How does this affect the broader world if they were to find out about all these things happening on the island? Is the alpha the father of this baby? What is happening here? These are all very compelling questions that you never get the fucking answer to. Instead, we get a scene of soldiers who are on this island getting picked off one by a group of zombies. And look, if there's one thing that I hate, is when the plot makes weapons and people ineffective against their opponents. There's no way you're going to convince me that a group of heavily armed soldiers with loads of ammunition and protective gear lose to a group of zombies. It just doesn't make any sense. They're over there, you're over here. You have the range, you can kill them. There's no way you're losing here. But regardless, they all die and one survives after escaping another alpha penis holder. He will be important in a second. But then we go back to watching our deranged mother walk around this lily field calling her son dad as she hallucinates. And oh yeah, you remember this scene from the trailer where the zombie pops up and it looks very cool? You can't wait to see what this character or infected does in the movie? Yeah, he shows up to kill her and immediately fucking dies. So he doesn't even do anything. It was just a cool shot in the trailer. And the shot in the trailer isn't even in the fucking movie.
Huh?
But they run from another group of zombies that form up behind him and run into a former gas station that's built up with some ethanol. Again, this is a cool chase scene, and I like the visual of the ethanol gas in the gas station and them trying to survive with the zombies running in there. But they're saved at the last minute by the soldier man who survived at the end of the last clip, and his name is Eric. And we're gonna talk about the character Eric because apparently he's from one of the patrol boats that quarantined the island, and they just happened to crash into the island some fucking how, and now he's stuck here.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Wait a fucking minute. This just reminded me, I forgot about the dumbest part of the entire film and why this story doesn't make sense in the first place. The opening crawl.
Yeah. It's rewind time.
Firstly, it all falls apart because this film completely invalidates the ending of 28 weeks later. In that film, we see that the virus starts to spread throughout the entirety of the European peninsula, and we are under the assumption that the virus has now spread across the world. Somehow, some fucking way, they fought the virus back to the mainland of the United Kingdom and decided to quarantine it. Wait a fuck, I'm sorry, so you're telling me you're able to fight back this rage virus to the point of of cleansing the entire European peninsula, but you can't do the same thing for this tiny island by comparison? And you just let the virus fester there for 28 years while the world moves on? No worry about whether the virus evolves and becomes airborne or something like that? You also just condemn all the people on that island? The governments of the world just cool with that shit? I'm sorry, my suspension of disbelief can only go so fucking far when in the previous film you showed them bombing an entire city to stop the infection from spreading, and in your opening crawl say that you push the virus back. There's no way you just allow it to fester for almost 30 years. That doesn't make any fucking sense. And spending the resources to just patrol the island instead of bombing it would never happen. And to be honest, the countries of the world will probably be biting at the bit to try and reclaim this land as an extension of their own country instead of leaving it to waste. But there I go making sense again. I'm sorry, let's get back to the dumbass soldier guy.
We're sending you back to the future.
So, the soldier Eric is the worst character because all he does is throw stupid modern day humor at Spike given he's lived in the outside world. He makes jokes about mailmen and the internet and shows a cell phone with his girlfriend who has plastic surgery. It's supposed to be funny when all it did was make me go, wait, so if the rest of the world knows that this is here and they're all moving on, are they just watching this as some kind of reality show? You're telling me no one has tried to airdrop supplies or come ashore? No crazy leftist group has gone zombie lives matter and showed up to fight for their rights? And the elders that lived there wouldn't have stories about mailmen and the internet and phones and cameras and things like that? Because the world only stopped in 2002, so they had access to those things back then. So you're telling me that the children wouldn't have heard stories about that? But I digress. Then they start their trek again to the doctor's place. The mother, who is for some reason far ahead of her able-bodied protectors, hears a woman scream and chases to find out who it is. And no, the able-bodied men behind her can't catch her like this is a scene straight out of Kenobi. She finds a wrecked train and inside, guess who's there? The pregnant zombie lady. All right, it's in this moment that I'm going to explain to you what happens, and it's fucking stupid. She sees the pregnant zombie giving birth and decides to reach out with her hands to help the zombie give birth. The zombie then holds her hands and together they deliver a baby girl into the world who is somehow not infected. So you're telling me that these zombies are evolved enough to the point of wanting to procreate, but they can't stop killing people or put on some fucking clothes? You're telling me that with all the blood that came out of this zombie, none of it bounced off onto the mother, infecting her, regardless of her washing the baby off with water? And that wasn't a major point of concern for them, given that the tiniest drop that enters into your body turns you into this rage virus? The military man who only knows that these things kill just stood there and watched this shit happen? And last but not least, the baby isn't fucking infected? What the fuck is going on? And then to make things worse, Mandingo Alpha number 2 shows up, kills Eric by ripping his head off like a fucking predator, and then shows some kind of emotion that his pregnant woman is dead, and then tries to kill Spike and his mom, running at him while his fire hose is going all over the place. Was he trying to kill them to get his baby back? Or was he just bloodthirsty? We don't fucking know because they never answer this question either. But at the end of the chase, it looks like they're about to die. But then Samson, as we know that the Alpha gets called, gets shot by a dart and gets put to sleep. And lo and behold, it's Dr. Kelson. Now let's get back to some more bait and switch, because remember in the trailer, every shot that you saw of Ralph Fiennes' character, he looked like he was some gritty, badass survivor that you've seen in The Wasteland? Well, nope. In this film, he's just a goofball sweetheart who, instead of killing Samson once he's paralyzed, just lets him sleep it off. Is it because he was studying him to see why he acts the way that he acts, to monitor the evolution, to find out why his dick is so big? We don't fucking know because the movie never told you.
Hey,
No, stop. Just calm down. Don't do it.
We do know that Dr. Kelson is protected in his bone zone because of a bridge across a river that later means absolutely nothing to Firehose Dick, but whatever. Seriously, why did they make his meat so big, bro? It was distracting. So then we get Dr. Kelson, Ilsa, the baby, and Spike into the bone zone, and Dr. Kelson is giving them a speech about accepting death, and he gives the diagnosis to Ilsa that she has cancer and all these other things, and I must admit that it is a very good scene. He talks about memento mori, which means remember you must die, showing off the pile of skulls that he has and why it's there, and the symbolism that you must accept death. And it's also trying to set up what will eventually happen to the mother once she realizes that she has cancer, and she wants Dr. Kelson to basically give her euthanasia so that she can go off in peace. It's a good part of the movie that's bringing up themes of life and death and actually executing on those themes. It's the only time in the film where they set something up and then execute right after on it. It was very well done. Even though I feel like the character of Spike should already be used to death in this world because that's a constant fear that they should have. The death of his mother is probably something different, and they probably don't have euthanasia back at the cult camp. So yeah, this was pretty well done. Ilsa gives a nice speech to Spike. They embrace and things like that. She goes off and dies. Dr. Kelson comes back with her skull and he gives it to Spike to say, hey, put it in the best place. And then you get a great scene of Spike climbing the tower and putting his mother's skull to look at the sunrise. It was very well done. It was the one part of the film where I was like, wow, something of value and emotional resonance is happening right now, and I am enjoying it. Regardless of how fucking stupid everything was to get to this point, this was very well done. And then once again, it's all proven fucking meaningless because once the mother is gone and that touching scene is over, 28 inches later comes running into the impenetrable bone zone and almost kills the doctor through a floor hidey hole before being put to sleep again. Wait. So you're fucking telling me Samson knows where the doctor lives and is just able to run in there, but Dr. Kelson keeps him alive? And to make the previous touching scene even more meaningless, Dr. Kelson let Spike and a one-day-old newborn walk by themselves across the mainland back to the island community. Again, with the character setup and portrayal, because you're telling me this big soft-ass character that you just set up as caring for folks is just gonna let a child and a fucking newborn walk through a zombie-infested landscape for days and didn't even help them? Come the fuck on, man.
But wait! There's more!
Spike, in his infinite childish wisdom, decides to leave the baby girl at the settlement gate for them to find and raise, along with a note. How did he get that close to the gate with a newborn and no one saw him? Why would he leave the baby at the gate, knowing that an alpha just ran across days prior when he was there with his father? What if it rained and then the baby drowned in the basket? Who fucking knows, man? But you get the trend. This is stupid. But even more bizarre is the choice that he makes in the note itself that he leaves. We finally see Jacob after an hour and a half of the movie, and he reads the note with Spike telling the community that the baby is from an infected, but the baby itself isn't infected.
Are you stupid or something?
Oh, you little dumbass, what are we doing? There is no way, baby or otherwise, this community would let this child live there. The risk is just too great. You never know if it'll turn, or better yet, if it's an A carrier like the kid from the previous film, where they're not infected, but they can probably get somebody else infected. It would destroy the community, and given how they have this strict rule of not going out to save even a single person who leaves that damn island, there's no way they would keep that baby alive. It just wouldn't happen. What also would happen is Spike choosing to live by himself on the mainland as a 12-year-old when he could barely handle himself on the trip there. What also would happen is Jacob letting his wife and son go out there by themselves in the first place and not chasing him down, so all of this would be fucking mute anyway. But yes, we finally get to the end of the film with Spike wandering the mainland, and then we get the music from the first movie, and you're thinking that this turd is about to wrap up. But oh yeah, that's right, Jimmy and his bisexual boy band shows up to kill all kind of momentum that this film potentially could have had because they want to introduce him for a sequel.
Oh, come on!
If I had to describe this film, it would be this.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
All in all, the more I've thought about it, the more I've come to actually despise this movie, not because of everything that it does wrong, mind you, but actually because of everything that it does right. It sets up a gritty world of intrigue and consequence, lore about the broader life outside the island, and how some people on the island actually survive. It's shot beautifully, man, and is one of the better looking films to come out this year. The acting is fantastic with every single actor besides Jimmy Savile in the Chain Gang, with the standout being the child actor Alfie Williams. And finding out that this is actually his first role is insane and shows that child actors should be treated like everyone else because they're able to rise to the occasion. They should be commended for it. There are so many good ideas that this movie has that they just either drop the ball on entirely or totally forget about because my sequels will explain everything. A terrible cop-out I've seen people use on the internet because apparently this is the first of a trilogy and I should let it play out or whatever. No, a good movie is a good movie regardless if it's attached to the sequels or not, and if it can't stand on its own with the sequels attached, then you drop the ball. And this movie, in my opinion, dropped the ball hard, bro. Normies are going to check out of this film after that first third where you have the Jacob and Son arc and you don't see Aaron Taylor Johnson throughout the rest of the film and you start getting that nonsensical course of events that happens. Normies are just going to be sitting there like, what the fuck am I watching? I came to watch a zombie movie, not this retarded shit that you're putting on my screen. It's a far cry from the original that redefined the genre and the other movies that Alex Garland and Danny Boyle have made, showing that they know how to write competent movies. I would say maybe watch this for the experience alone, but nah, man, I can't recommend this film. Nah, I just can't do it. I'm one of those people that if I watch something, I can't turn my brain off. I can't watch a Fast and Furious movie and see Vin Diesel drive a fucking Mustang into a bridge, snap and wind across a gap, roll his car 4 or 5 times, and see his white shirt have no dirt on it. I can't watch shit like that. It pisses me off. So when I watch a film, I am watching a film to see the consistency, to see the storytelling, to see the world building, the cinematography, the sound, the acting, all of that could be great, but it doesn't matter if your core basic, which is your writing, doesn't hold up, and it doesn't hold up here, man. You guys let me know what you think down below about this movie. Do you agree with my takes, or do you think I'm just a hater of everything and should just shut up and enjoy the content? Put it down in the comments below and we'll talk about it. But this has been a way longer video than usual, so also give me some feedback on that as well, and let me know if you like the longer form videos or do you want me to keep them short and sweet. But until next time, it's been your boy Katie. Y'all be easy, y'all be well. I will see you on the next one. Like, dislike, again, get in the comments, give some feedback. I will see you on the next one. Peace out, man. Like, why did they make the alpha's dicks so big? Like, what was the fascination with that, bro?